They will be dead within a cycle. Grand Observer Vrex'kar announced at the Council of Celestial Affairs, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he tapped a claw against a holographic display. These humans, with their flimsy calcium-based skeletons and their water-filled bodies, please. The void will crack them open like seasonal fruit. The gathered representatives of the Galactic Consortium murmured in agreement. All 12 species present had evolved in environments far more hospitable to spacefaring than the humans of Sol 3. Even the Cadraks, with their methane-breathing physiology, had adapted to cosmic radiation over millennia before attempting deep space travel. And yet, interrupted Talora, the blue-skinned diplomat from Riel, they persist in building these, what do they call them, generation ships? I shifted uncomfortably in my seat. As junior science liaison for the observation post near the human solar system, I was only present to provide data, not opinions. But something about these pink, soft creatures fascinated me. They were so determined. Ambassador Zin'ak, the Grand Observer, suddenly addressed me. You have studied these creatures for nearly 6 standard years. What is your assessment? The attention of the entire council chamber swiveled toward me. 12 different species, all evolutionarily superior for space travel, all waiting to hear why I wasn't laughing along with their dismissal of humanity. My outer membrane flushed purple with nervous energy. The humans, I began, clearing my speech sacs, are resourceful beyond our model's predictions. Their approach to problems is unorthodox. The consortium took 17 generations to develop artificial gravity. Humans simply spin things. This earned a few chuckles. The Palladian representative fluttered her wing membranes dismissively. Primitive solutions to complex problems, she said. Perhaps, I continued, feeling bolder but effective ones. Their first deep space vessel launches tomorrow, and our projections may be incomplete. Grand Observer Vrex'kar's upper eyes narrowed while his lower ones widened, a sign of dangerous irritation among the Vexarans. Are you suggesting the consortium's combined scientific knowledge is insufficient compared to a species that only discovered atomic energy 3 generations ago? He demanded. I'm suggesting, I replied carefully, that we have no evolutionary analog for human stubbornness. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated arguments. I sank back into my seat, regretting my words immediately. Enough! The Grand Observer's voice boomed through the translation modules. We will observe their attempt. Ambassador Zin'ak, you will lead a small observation team to monitor their vessel's inevitable failure. Perhaps witnessing their demise firsthand will correct your unusual admiration. I bowed my head stalk in acknowledgement, though dread filled my nutrient sacs. I didn't want to watch humans die, but I also couldn't shake the feeling that everyone in this room was underestimating them. This is completely ridiculous, complained Norbax, my Trilogian colleague, as our observation vessel maintained a discreet distance from a human generation ship, Horizon. We are wasting valuable research time watching these mammals vaporize themselves. The Council's orders were clear. I reminded him, though secretly I agreed with his frustration. We'd been observing for 7 standard days, and the human ship was still functioning. Their radiation shielding is laughable, Norbax continued, his tentacles waving in agitation. Our sensors detect gamma particles penetrating their hull at rates that should have liquefied their organs by now. I zoomed our observation feed to focus on a section of the horizon where humans in protective suits were conducting external repairs. And yet, they continue working. Temporary success at best, sniffed Kala, our Palladian medical officer. Her wings twitched with impatience. Their DNA will unravel within a month. I wasn't so certain. Run another deep scan of their water reclamation system. I instructed our ship's AI. There's something unusual happening in Section 43. The holographic display expanded, revealing an ingenious series of biological filters combined with mechanical systems that seemed to be evolving. One of the 7 moons, Norbax exclaimed, his skin changing to a shocked yellow. They are using bacteria to enhance their radiation protection. I finished, feeling a strange mixture of vindication and surprise. The microorganisms are absorbing and processing the radiation, then converting it to usable energy. They have engineered a symbiotic relationship with microbes that consumes cosmic radiation. Kala fluttered over, her scientific curiosity finally overcoming her dismissiveness. That's brilliant, and completely insane. No council species would risk introducing potentially mutating bacteria into a closed system like a starship. Humans take risks, I said simply. It wasn't the first time I'd made this observation, but perhaps it was the first time my colleagues were ready to hear it. Our communication array suddenly pinged with an incoming transmission. The three of us froze. We were using our best cloaking technology. The humans shouldn't be able to detect us. Unknown vessel. Came a calm, slightly amused human voice over our speakers. This is Captain Dana Michaels of the Earthship Horizon. We have been aware of your presence for approximately 3 days now. Would you care to introduce yourselves, or would you prefer to continue your surveillance? Norbax's tentacles went limp with shock. Kala's wings stilled completely. I felt my chromatophores cycling through patterns of disbelief. How? I whispered, momentarily forgetting the open channel. A chuckle came through the speaker. Your cloaking technology disrupts cosmic microwave background radiation in a predictable pattern. One of our physicists noticed it while stargazing. Rather brilliant, actually. I gestured frantically for our communications officer to mute our transmission. This is unprecedented, I hissed. No non-consortium species has ever detected a cloaked observation vessel. What do we do? Kala demanded. The protocols don't cover the scenario. After a moment of panic, I made a decision that would change galactic history. Unmute, I instructed. Captain Michaels, this is Ambassador Zin'ak of the Galactic Consortium. We apologize for our covert observation. It was not intended as a hostile action. Another chuckle. We figured as much. Your energy signatures aren't weapons hot. Would you like to come aboard? We make a decent cup of coffee, though I can't promise it's safe for non-human consumption. The casual invitation stunned us into silence. Interspecies contamination protocols alone would require 17 different quarantine procedures before such a meeting could take place. The Council will dissect us molecule by molecule, Norbax moaned quietly. He wasn't wrong. But something in the human's easy confidence made me wonder if this might be the most important first contact in consortium history. We would be honored, Captain, I replied, ignoring the horrified expressions of my colleagues, though we may need to observe certain biological protocols. Understood completely, Captain Michaels responded. We will prepare our decontamination chamber. Transmitting docking instructions now. Looking forward to meeting you phase 2. Well, whatever you have. The human decontamination procedures were surprisingly thorough. Their understanding of cross-species contamination risks indicated a level of biological comprehension we hadn't credited them with. As we completed the final sterilization process, I found myself increasingly intrigued by these creatures. Captain Michaels met us in what they called a neutral greeting zone, a chamber modified to accommodate unknown physiologies. She was shorter than I expected, with dark, curly hair pulled back into a tight formation. Her eyes widened slightly at our appearances, but she maintained her composure admirably. "Welcome aboard the Horizon," she said, placing her hands together in what our cultural database identified as a gesture of peaceful greeting. "First time meeting aliens. Hope we're doing this right. Your procedures have been most accommodating," I replied through our translation device. "May I introduce Medical Officer Kala and Scientific Observer Norbax?" The human smiled, showing teeth, but in a non-threatening manner. "A pleasure. I have to ask, have you been watching us this whole time? Since we left Earth?" I felt my chromatophores shifting to an embarrassed purple. "Yes, the Consortium has been observing humanity for some time. We did not expect your deep space mission to succeed." Instead of offense, the captain's face displayed what our emotional recognition software identified as wry amusement. "Join the club. Half of Earth didn't think we'd make it past Mars." Norbax, still clearly uncomfortable, interjected. "Your radiation protection systems are unlike anything we have encountered. The bacterial symbiosis approach is unorthodox." "That's Dr. Patel's work," Captain Michaels nodded. "She's been developing radiation-consuming bacteria since our first Mars colony faced solar flare issues. Would you like to meet her?" Before we could respond, an alarm blared through the ship. Humans suddenly moved with practiced efficiency as warning lights pulsed along the corridors. Perfect timing, the captain sighed. Micrometeoroid cluster. Excuse me a moment. She pressed the communication device. Michael's here. Status report. As she received information, I observed the other humans responding to the crisis. There was no panic, only focused determination. Forward shields holding at 60%, reported a voice. Impact in 3 minutes. Repair teams are standing by. Captain Michaels turned to us. Sorry about this. Would you like to observe from the bridge? Might give you some insight into how we handle things. The invitation was unprecedented, but then this entire encounter had abandoned protocol from the beginning. I nodded my agreement, fascinated by the opportunity. The bridge of the horizon was compact, but efficiently designed. Humans monitored stations with practiced precision. On the main display, I could see the approaching debris field, a dense cluster of space rocks and dust that would challenge even consortium shields. Evasive pattern Delta, ordered Captain Michaels. Rotate living quarters to the shadow side. Activate secondary shield generators. The generators aren't fully charged, protested one human. They'll have to do, the captain replied calmly. Better than taking direct hits. I watched in fascination as the massive ship began to move with surprising agility, turning to present its most protected face to the oncoming threat. The humans worked in perfect coordination, making rapid adjustments and predicting debris trajectories with impressive accuracy. Impact in 30 seconds, announced a young human with facial hair. Brace for turbulence. Captain Michaels turned to us. You might want to secure yourselves. This could get bumpy. The first impact struck like thunder. The ship shuddered, but its structure held. Damage reports flooded in. But the humans processed them with remarkable efficiency, dispatching repair teams before I would have even finished assessing the situation. Breach in hydroponics section B. Called out a human female. Atmosphere venting. Seal the section, ordered Captain Michaels. Emergency teams, full suits. We've got people in there. My companions and I exchanged worried glances. A hull breach in deep space was often a death sentence, even for consortium vessels. Yet, within moments, humans in protective gear were moving through the ship's corridors with purpose. On auxiliary displays, we watched as they navigated the damaged section, rescuing their comrades and applying emergency patches to the breach. Remarkable, whispered Kala, her scientific detachment momentarily forgotten. Their response time is evolutionary. I finished. They have adapted to crisis. As the Meteoroid field passed and the immediate danger subsided, I realized something profound. The consortium had been asking the wrong question. It wasn't whether humans could survive deep space. It was what would happen to Galaxy when they mastered it. Captain Michaels rejoined us, looking only slightly disheveled. Sorry about that. Hazard of the job. Now, where were we? Yes, Dr. Patel's radiation-eating bacteria. Still interested. I looked at this small, fragile-looking being who had just coordinated a successful response to a crisis that would have sent many consortium ships retreating to the nearest repair station. Captain, I said carefully, I believe the Galactic Consortium has greatly underestimated humanity. She grinned. Well, we're used to that. It's kind of our secret weapon. As we followed her deeper into the impossible ship that shouldn't be functioning, but somehow was, I began composing a report that would shock the Council to its core. Humans weren't just surviving deep space. They were thriving in it. And the galaxy would never be the same. So you genuinely believe we would all be dead by now? Dr. Aisha Patel asked, her eyes bright with curiosity rather than offense. The human scientist gestured broadly at her laboratory, where containers of glowing bacteria pulsed with absorbed radiation. Because of our, what did you call them? Flimsy calcium-based skeletons. Norbax's skin flushed an embarrassed orange. The consortium's models indicated a 97.8% likelihood of mission failure within the first standard month. Dr. Patel laughed heartily. I love it. The entire galaxy betting against us. And here we are, disappointing the odds. She tapped the display, bringing up complex molecular structures. These little fellows are my pride and joy. Genetically modified extremophiles, originally discovered in nuclear reactor cooling pools back on Earth. They don't just tolerate radiation, they feast on it. I leaned forward, my scientific curiosity overwhelming protocol. The metabolic pathways must be extraordinarily complex. That's putting it mildly, Dr. Patel agreed. We practically had to rewrite fundamental biochemistry. But the real breakthrough was the symbiotic relationship we established with the ship itself. The bacteria process radiation into compounds our systems can use. We're essentially turning a deadly environmental factor into a resource. Kala fluttered closer to the containment units. Among the consortium, introducing live biological agents into ship systems would violate at least 23 safety protocols. Sometimes you have to break the rules to survive. Kala fluttered closer to the containment units, her wings vibrating with a mixture of horror and fascination. Among the consortium, introducing live biological agents into ship systems would violate at least 23 safety protocols. It is biological heresy. Dr. Patel smirked, leaning back against the console. Sometimes you have to break the rules to survive. What's the alternative? Officer Kala. A slow, comfortable extinction on a dying world? We didn't break the rules for the thrill of it. We broke them because the game was already rigged against us. She gestured to the glowing vats. But you've only seen half of the equation. Norbax's tentacles stiffened. Half. You're focused on how the bacteria protect the ship, Patel said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. You haven't asked how they protect the crew. She tapped a new sequence on her console. A different diagram appeared, the double helix of human DNA, shimmering and active. Alongside it, strands from extremophile bacteria merged and interacted with the human code in a complex, symbiotic dance. The radiation they consume, they share the energy, Dr. Patel explained softly, not just with the ship's power grid. They've been integrated into our own biology, reinforcing our DNA, patching cosmic ray damage in real time. Our flimsy calcium-based skeletons, they're becoming denser, stronger with every light year we travel. Kala took a step back, her wing membranes pulled taut. You've altered your own species? Willingly? In the void? That's uncontrolled evolution. We call it leveling the playing field. A calm voice said from the doorway. Captain Michael stood there, arms crossed, a faint smile on her face. She had clearly overheard the conversation. My own thoughts reeled. The Council's dismissal, Vex'kar's mockery of their fragility. It was all based on a static model of a species they thought they understood. They were judging a photograph while the subject was busy painting itself into a masterpiece. I finally found my voice, a new sense of awe overriding my shock. This is what you meant by stubbornness. Captain Michaels shook her head. No, Ambassador. This is what we mean by hope. She stepped into the lab, her gaze sweeping over my stunned colleagues before landing on me. The Galactic Consortium plays a long game because you've already won. You have the luxury of caution. We are playing for a seat at the table, and we're not afraid to go all in. I looked from the determined captain to the glowing vats of world-altering life, and then to the DNA model that proved humanity wasn't just traveling to the stars. They were becoming them. And I realized the report I would send back wouldn't be a correction of data. It would be a warning. The children of Sol 3 were not failing. They were evolving, and the galaxy's ancient, quiet rules were about to be broken forever. Work with nature rather than against it, Captain Michaels said, entering the laboratory. Dr. Patel's bacteria are one example. Our gravity solutions are another. The captain led us through corridors where humans move with an easy grace despite the obvious centrifugal forces at work. The rotating sections of the ship created a convincing approximation of natural gravity. No graviton generators? Norbax asked, his scientific disdain evident despite the translator. Just spinning. Captain Michaels grinned. Why complicate what works? Plus, the rotation serves multiple purposes. The outer hull sections shield the habitation rings, and momentum helps with our maneuvering capabilities. Efficiency through simplicity. I observed, increasingly impressed. Where Consortium design favored technological sophistication, humans seem to embrace elegant practicality. Exactly, the captain exclaimed. Now, would you like to see the heart of the ship? Our fusion drive is something we are particularly proud of. The engine room of the Horizon hummed with powerful energy. Chief Engineer Marcus Jackson, a broad-shouldered human with dark skin and a booming voice, greeted us with surprising enthusiasm. Real aliens in my engine room. Wait until I tell my kids. He pumped my upper limb in what our cultural database identified as a greeting called a handshake. So, what do you think of our little propulsion system? Little was not the appropriate descriptor. The fusion reactor core pulse would barely contain stellar energy, channeled through magnetic containment fields that should have been beyond human technological capability. Your containment solution is unorthodox. I managed, studying the readouts. You are using liquid metallic hydrogen as a supplementary containment medium. Engineer Jackson beamed with pride. You got a good eye there. Yes, we've layered our containment systems. Magnetic fields provide primary containment, but the liquid metallic hydrogen shell absorbs neutron scatter and converts it to additional propulsive force. Norbax, despite his earlier skepticism, was clearly fascinated. The efficiency rating must be extraordinary. 43%, Jackson announced proudly. Not perfect, but we're improving it every day. Kala and Norbax exchanged shocked glances. Consortium drives typically achieve 30% efficiency at best, and those were on capital ships with resources far beyond what humans should possess. How did you solve the quantum tunneling problem? Kala asked, her scientific curiosity fully engaged. That was Dr. Okonkwo's breakthrough, Jackson replied, gesturing to a smiling human female monitoring the reactor core. She developed a nested field harmonization technique that... A violent tremor suddenly rocked the ship, cutting off his explanation. Warning klaxons blared as the lighting shifted to a red hue. That wasn't space debris, Captain Michael said grimly, activating her communication device. Bridge, report. Unidentified energy signature, came the urgent reply. Massive power surge detected 3,000 kilometers off our port bow. It's some kind of ship, Captain, and just appeared out of nowhere. My blood ran cold. The Vrex'kar, I whispered. Captain Michaels turned to me sharply. You know who they are? Space pirates. I explained, my voice trembling. Outcasts from various consortium worlds who prey on vulnerable vessels. They possess stolen phase shift technology that allows them to appear without warning. They are not known for leaving survivors. Fantastic, the captain muttered. Our first week in deep space, and we've already met friendly aliens and space pirates. Bridge battle stations. All civilians to shelter locations. The calm efficiency with which the humans responded to this new threat was remarkable. Within moments, the ship transformed from a scientific vessel to a defensive posture. We should return to our observation craft, Norbax insisted, his skin paling to a worried gray. The Consortium has non-interference protocols for Vrex'kar encounters. Running away isn't an option, Captain Michaels stated flatly. Your ship is docked with ours. If we disconnect now, they will target you first. Her eyes met mine. Ambassador, any tactical information you can provide would be appreciated. I hesitated only briefly before making my decision. The Vrex'kar ships have powerful energy weapons, but poor maneuverability. Their phase shift technology prevents them from maintaining strong shields. They rely on the element of surprise for their attacks. The captain nodded thoughtfully. So they hit hard and fast, counting on superior firepower rather than defense. She tapped her communication device. Tactical. Prepare countermeasures. The EM disruptors. I blinked in surprise. You have electromagnetic pulse weapons? But those would disable your own systems as well. A sly smile crossed Captain Michael's face. Not exactly. Jackson, show our guest the FBS system. The engineer led us to a separate control station where a young human was calibrating what appeared to be a directional emitter array. A focus bandwidth scrambler, Jackson explained proudly, sends targeted electromagnetic pulses across specific frequency ranges. Won't affect our shielded systems, but should play havoc with anything using standard communication protocols. "Incoming transmission," announced the bridge. "They are hailing us." The main display activated, revealing the mottled, snarling face of a Vrex'kar commander, a fearsome amalgamation of reptilian and insectoid features. The unidentified vessel. The pirate growled through translator technology. "Your ship and cargo are now property of the Vrex'kar Dominion. Surrender, and some of you may survive as labor resources." Captain Michaels straightened her uniform and stepped into view of the transmission. "This is Captain Dana Michaels of the Earth ship Horizon. We are a peaceful vessel on a scientific mission. We have no cargo of value to you." The Vrex'kar commander's mandibles clicked with amusement. "All vessels contain value, human. Your technology, your resources, your very bodies will serve the Dominion. You have one standard time unit to power down your systems and prepare for boarding." The transmission cut off abruptly. "Well, he seemed nice," Captain Michaels remarked dryly. "Options, people. The Vrex'kar never negotiate. I warned. Once they target a vessel, they attack until they succeed or are destroyed. Then we'll have to convince them we are not worth the trouble," the captain decided. "Jackson, is the FPS ready?" "Primed and targeted." The engineer confirmed. "But Captain, it's never been field tested against alien technology. Time like the present," she replied grimly. "Tactical. What about our defensive capabilities?" A young human with sharp features responded. "Forward shields at maximum. Point defense systems online. We have rerouted power from non-essential systems." Captain Michaels nodded. "Good. Now here's the plan. When they approach for boarding, they will need to lower their phase shift field. At that moment, they will be vulnerable. We hit them with the FBS, followed immediately by a targeted thruster burst to create distance." I couldn't contain my concern. "Captain, Consortium military vessels have tried similar tactics against the Vrex'kar. They rarely succeed." The captain's expression was resolute. "With all due respect, Ambassador, we are not a Consortium vessel. Jackson, how are those bacteria of Dr. Patel's distributed throughout our hull?" The engineer looked puzzled for a moment before his eyes widened with understanding. "Evenly throughout the outer shell, especially concentrated near the shield emitters." "Are you thinking?" "Exactly," Captain Michaels confirmed. "Can we temporarily modify their containment to allow a controlled release during the FBS burst?" Dr. Patel, who had joined us on the bridge, interjected. "A radiation surge, it could work. The bacteria would essentially create a radioactive cloud as they seek new energy sources." "Would that not endanger your crew?" Kala asked, clearly alarmed. "The bacteria are programmed to return to their containment systems," Dr. Patel explained. "It's a calculated risk, but within acceptable parameters." Watching these humans rapidly formulate a defense strategy unlike anything in Consortium tactical databases, I felt a strange mixture of terror and awe. Their approach was unorthodox, innovative, and incredibly dangerous. Quintessentially human. "Vrex'kar vessel powering weapons," reported the tactical officer. "They are moving into position. Stand by FBS," ordered Captain Michaels. "Prepare bacterial release protocols. All hands brace for potential impact." The pirate ship loomed large on the display, a jagged, asymmetrical construct cobbled together from stolen technology and scavenged materials. Its weapons ports glowed with gathering energy. "They're dropping phase shift to fire," the tactical officer announced. 3, 2, 1, execute." Captain Michaels commanded. The ship hummed as the focus bandwidth scrambler activated, sending invisible pulses of disrupting energy toward the pirate vessel. Simultaneously, Dr. Patel initiated the bacterial release. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The Vrex'kar ship's weapons flickered and died as their systems were bombarded with precisely targeted electromagnetic interference. Then, as the radiation-hungry bacteria swarmed into space between the vessels, sensors detected a rapidly expanding cloud of radioactive particles. "Their shields are failing," reported the tactical officer with evident surprise. Multiple system failures detected. On the display, the pirate ship listed to one side, its engine sputtering erratically. "They are trying to reestablish phase shift," the officer continued. "But something's interfered with their field generators." Dr. Patel grinned triumphantly. "The bacteria, they are attracted to the energy signatures of the phase shift technology and disrupting the field coherence." "Incoming transmission," announced the communications officer. The Vrex'kar commander appeared again, but his demeanor had changed dramatically. Behind him, consoles sparked and secondary explosions rocked his vessel. "What weapon is this?" he demanded, mandibles clicking in agitation. "Our systems are failing. The ship is being consumed." Captain Michael stepped forward calmly. "Not a weapon, Commander, just a bacterial cleaning service. They are particularly fond of poorly shielded radiation sources, like your stolen phase shift generators. I suggest you withdraw while your engines still function." The pirate hissed with rage, but fear was evident in his compound eyes. "This violation will not stand. The Dominion will do nothing." I interrupted, stepping into view. "This is Ambassador Zin'ak of the Galactic Consortium. The human vessel is under our protection. Withdraw immediately or face consortium sanctions." It was a bluff. The consortium had no official policy of protecting non-member species, but the Vrex'kar commander wouldn't know that. After a moment of visible internal struggle, the pirate snarled, "This is not finished," before cutting the transmission. "They are retreating," the tactical officer confirmed as the damaged pirate vessel limped away, its once fearsome presence now diminished. A cheer erupted across the bridge. Captain Michaels turned to me with a grateful nod. "Thank you for the assistance, Ambassador, though I suspect your superiors might not approve of your claim of consortium protection." "They most certainly will not," I agreed, "but perhaps they should. What your crew accomplished today would have been impossible by consortium tactical doctrine. You defeated Vrex'kar pirates with bacteria and a targeted electromagnetic pulse." "Improvisation is humanity's specialty," the captain replied with a modest shrug. "When you don't know something can't be done, you're free to try anyway." "Absolutely not." Grand Observer Vrex'kar's four eyes bulged with indignation as he reviewed our report. "A formal alliance with a pre-FTL species? Unprecedented. Unthinkable." The council chamber buzzed with agitated conversations. My presentation on the Horizon's encounter with the Vrex'kar pirates had caused precisely the uproar I'd expected. Norbax and Kala stood beside me, lending their support to my recommendations. A surprising development considering their initial skepticism. Respectfully, Grand Observer, I persisted. The humans demonstrated technological innovation and tactical thinking that rivaled established consortium members. Their bacterial radiation management alone could revolutionize our approach to deep space travel. Innovation born of desperate necessity, dismissed the Palladian representative. Lucky accidents rather than true advancement. Kala, to my surprise, fluttered her wings in the Palladian gesture of disagreement with a superior, a shocking breach of protocol. With respect, Exalted One, there was nothing accidental about their victory. The humans combined multiple technologies in ways our tactical models never considered. Their approach to problem-solving is complementary to our own. Norbax added, his voice, his skin pulsing with conviction colors. Their bacterial symbiosis techniques alone could advance consortium biological science by decades, and their fusion containment solutions achieve efficiency ratings that surpass our best capital ships. The chamber fell silent as the representatives absorbed this information. The Cadrak's ambassador, normally silent on matters outside trade policy, released a thoughtful cloud of methane. "Perhaps," he wheezed through his translator, "we've been too hasty in our dismissal of water-based life forms." Grand Observer Vrex'kar's upper eyes narrowed in thought, while his lower ones scanned the chamber, assessing the shifting mood. "What exactly are you proposing, Ambassador Zin'ak?" I straightened to my full height, my chromatophores shifting to the formal pattern of official proposition. "I propose a provisional partnership status for humanity. Not full membership, but recognition of their potential value to the consortium. Access to specific technological exchanges, limited cultural integration protocols, and defensive cooperation against mutual threats like the Vrex'kar. A mentor relationship?" mused the Regalian diplomat. "We guide their development while benefiting from their unusual perspectives." They survived deep space. I reminded the Council. They defeated pirates that have plagued our shipping lane for generations. And they did it with technology we had dismissed as primitive. Imagine what they might accomplish with actual support. Grand Observer Vrex'kar was silent for a long moment, his four eyes blinking in a complex rhythm that indicated deep calculation. Finally, he raised a claw. "The proposal has merit," he conceded reluctantly. "Ambassador Zin'ak, you will establish a permanent diplomatic mission aboard the human vessel. Observe, guide, and report. The Council will reassess partnership status based on your findings after one standard cycle." It wasn't everything I'd hoped for, but it was a beginning. As the Council adjourned, Norbax approached me, his skin tinged with curious blue. "You realize the humans will likely surpass several consortium species within a generation if given access to our technology," he noted. "Yes," I acknowledged, "and that terrifies the Council." "But not you," he asked. I thought about Captain Michaels and her crew, about their resourcefulness and determination, about bacteria that ate radiation, and engines that exceeded theoretical efficiency limits. The Void doesn't care about our evolutionary advantages or a technological head start. I replied, "It tries to kill us all equally. The humans survived despite everything we believed about their limitations. Perhaps the galaxy needs their particular brand of stubborn innovation." As I prepared to return to Horizon with news of their provisional status, I couldn't help but wonder who would be mentoring whom in this arrangement. The Consortium had spent millennia adapting to survive in space. Humans had simply refused to accept that they couldn't. And sometimes that makes all the difference.